get a seat here. Welcome, hey everybody. How are you? So the reason why I decided to do this is a lot of people don't know the first thing about making a computer, right? So I figured, yeah, I have at least a little bit of knowledge on how to do that thing, so might as well do a stream where I teach everybody how to do it. Been in the game for about 20 years now, so might as well try. Anyways, we have our various parts in front of us, right? We have our motherboard, our PSU, our graphics card, our DVD CDRW drive, a heater, our RAM, and our backplate. We're gonna build a budget PC here today, guys. We're not gonna do any crazy shit. This is not gonna be like a $3,000 or $4,000 computer. It's gonna be very, very inexpensive for you to afford. You understand? Okay, so first thing is first. Your motherboard. You can get these on Amazon. You can get them on Newegg. This is a Gorilla Extreme. This is a Gorilla Extreme 9100. Yeah, you can get these on Amazon or Newegg. Like I said, I'm just a little nervous because this is the first time I've ever decided to do something like this. So bear with me. I'm not very good at public speaking. It's kind of hard for me to do sometimes. So if you could bear with me while, because I remember I'm a computer doctor. I'm not typically in front of the camera. So if you give me a few moments to collect myself. So this is a standard motherboard, and you get it's a Gorilla, like I said, Gorilla 9100. It's a Gorilla 9100, and God, I really had this plan that I was going to do this and get it together. Okay. Anyways, the first thing you need to do, this is a standard ATX case. Okay. You don't need to get a micro ATX. You don't need to get a larger tower. These don't matter. It's just a piece of steel anyway, so you can actually put like a piece of plastic on here if you really wanted to. You don't really need like a case. As long as you can hold it together, that's all that really matters. So, what do we do when we first get our components out of the box, like you see here? Well, the first thing we do is we season the motherboard. So, any standard seasoning will do. Like I like to do a little bit of cracked pepper. That seems to be what I usually use, at least in the realm of seasonings. Just a little bit of standard table salt too will do. Just not too much. You don't want to do too much. Just enough to get it on there. You know what I'm saying? Because if you over season your motherboard, that's where you run into some problems. You know, problems where you get overheating issues. You could run into some dangerous electricity problems. And speaking of electricity, let's get some of the other seasonings out here. If you have a standard PC spice rack, like I would recommend, I don't like to use flak oil because flak oil causes there's FPS issues in video games. I like to use, I would write this down if I were you. This is electrosodium, technohydrine, and gastrofluoride. So these three are what you want to use to season the motherboard and get it really nice and crispy when it goes into the oven. I can't tell you what combination is correct for you, but what's correct for me is usually at least this much is good. I like to eyeball it because, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter as long as it tastes like the way that you want it to taste inside of your gaming when you're playing your video games. That's good there. Get a little bit of this. Season that. A little too much. That's all right. That's okay. If you put a little, hold on. Just a little too much came out. I'm just a little nervous. Hold on. Fucking idiot. I'm getting so nervous in front of the fucking camera. The fucking batteries are dead. What? Everything fucking doesn't go right. If you do too much and your vacuum's out of battery power, you can take a little spray duster. That's enough, because we don't want the whole thing to get unseasoned. So as we go forward here, something that really needs to be talked about, which we haven't talked about that frequently at least, is if electric conductivity, right? Because when you build a PC, you have to be careful of electrocuting yourself. It happens like 1 in 10 people when they build a PC electrocute the shit out of themselves. I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm very, very careful, especially when I'm dealing with components that are plugged in, to be very careful about that. So what we're going to do is, some people like to use wrist straps. I'm not one of those people. I like to go a little bit step further. You can get Vaseline at any CVS or Walgreens or anything, but it helps so much to counteract any potential conductivity. So let's just get a nice healthy layer here. Because once we start working with other components, for instance, like the graphics card, the RAM, the memory, this is where it gets dangerous. So you really want to work in some Vaseline is anywhere. You can get it at, like I said, your local Walgreens, Walmart, depending where you are. Now this makes it impossible for you to conduct any electricity because it's petroleum jelly. It does not conduct electricity. So at this point, I think it's time we move on, and we've seasoned our motherboard. As long as it sits there and marinates for a few minutes, then it'll be perfectly fine once we get it in the actual tower. So let's move on to the RAM, because the RAM is the first component you put into a computer will be your memory, because it's the easiest to put in, doesn't take very much effort, doesn't take very much time to get it in there. So let's just move this out of the way and make sure I got all my components. I do, so let's just get this up. This is a standard egg wash, for those of you that don't know, because this lets your RAM get nice and crispy when it goes in there. Just one stop, 2 stops, flip it around, get it coated with the egg, and then that goes into the flour. A nice crispy coating is what you're looking for here. And something very important, if you don't know, if you put more than 1 stick of RAM in a PC, it'll explode. So this is one DDR6, 64 gigabyte of RAM, and where does it go? Right here? No, right here. Okay, so once it's coated, once you get the nice egg wash on it, you want to really just, where's my other PC? Oh, there it is. Okay. Now you can do this with your hands, but I like to make sure it gets in there nice and thick. Hold on. This is why it's so hard to fucking deep batter a piece of RAM. Because you want the skin on there. There we go. Put that in there. Okay. Again, if it doesn't go in, then there it is. Now to make sure it's secure, it's in there. Our RAM is in there. Let's just give it a few taps with a hammer. This will ensure complete and total connection with the device and the memory. You want a very hard connection there. If any prongs aren't connected, then you're in deep shit. So that's good with that. Let's do the let me see what should go next. That's because that'll stay there. That's fine. The CPU, right? The CPU. So when you take that happens when you have Vaseline all over you. You know, it's okay. Speaking of that, I need to reapply. It's been like 30 or 40 seconds, right? Just get some more on me. You need to be really careful. You can die when making a PC. If you didn't know, you can actually fucking die. Thermal compound is a scam. All you need is a little bit of Vaseline. Just get that right on the bottom there if you can see. Make sure it's smeared on there. Because this will be your thermal compound, essentially, is what you're looking for. Now, when dealing with a CPU, this is a 12-core processor. Do not fuck with these. You have to be very gentle when you put it in. If you are not gentle when putting it in this slot, you're going to end up with a massive issue. A little bit of electrofluoride stuck on my hand. So, very carefully, you want to match the prongs up. It only goes one way. It does not go in any other way. It only goes in one direction. Just like the band. Just think about your favorite band. Once it's in there, remember I told you, it only goes in one way. It's not that way either. It's like putting on a bed sheet. There it goes. It only goes in one way. That's an extra. The companies add those to make it just so they look cool. Okay, now that the CPU is in there. One last hit. Don't recommend more than one hit with the hammer. This is your. Whoo! This is your. What is this device? It's supposed to be a goddamn computer, doctor. It's the heatsink. This is what this is. That's what this is. It's the heatsink. What you're supposed to do is if you put a little bit more extra thermal compound on there. Close this up, tighten it. You'll hear a snap sometimes. That's okay. That's okay. It doesn't matter. As long as you get it on there correctly, then it doesn't really matter. Remember with your plugs, if you're plugging in a device into a motherboard, you got to make sure you're in the right place. Because there are time and time again I've seen customers plug in their devices into the wrong slots. So make sure you know where this is going. This is a 3-prong. Look for the 3-prong. It is right here on my motherboard. It's different on yours if you're following along. So this sits on right here. This plugs in right here. It only goes in one way, so make sure you get it correct. It's kind of like a USB drive. You're never going to get it right the first time. Remember to keep your screws in the same place so you know where they are. That's not the right screw. Where is the screw here? I don't know where that screw is. Well, if you end up losing a screw, it's okay. What you can use instead is, let me just grab it. It's sitting around here somewhere. I don't know what the hell I did with it. Where did it go? I know this is for like an emergency. I don't know what I did with it. Where the fuck is it? That's not it. This is why they have the cup holders on the case. Make sure when you're building your PC, you use the issued cup holder that they put on all cases. You see this thing? I wasn't using it. It's all right. Water evaporates. Once this gets put in here, it'll evaporate in about 25 minutes. This can go in. I think it's time. I got the graphics card too. Sometimes I forget. Doi! Doink! You know what I mean? Forgot about the graphics card. So the graphics card, because this is a budget PC, this does not need to be anything too fancy. This is I got this off of eBay. This is an AGP graphics card, which don't listen to the fucking bullshit. Don't listen to like NVIDIA or AMD telling you have to have like a Titan 2X 5500. It's not true. This will run any video game that you want to play at the very least, 16 to 18 frames a second. That's all you need. The human eye can't see past 22 anyway, so who cares? So what you want to do is, let's get this, first of all, remember, always season your parts and your components. There's just a little bit of Pam, you know, nothing special. And that will go here. Perfect. You want to get it in that slot before it dries. That's incorrect. Remember, I think USB drive, doink! You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't get it the first try. And every part will go right in without a problem. You don't have to really force it. You don't got to put an edge on it or anything like that. It just goes right in. Like so. And that should be in there good. We are complete here. We have our RAM. We have our graphics card, CPU and heatsink. It doesn't have to be connected. It's okay. It doesn't need to be connected. And we have our GPU there. So this is now ready to be placed inside. So what you have to do now is get your station correct, because the rest of these components go in later. They go in after you screw in your motherboard. Don't do it in reverse, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get your hands in there. So do it this way first, so you have all your shit together and you know where everything is. Just get that seated again. Just something to make it sort of, because the smell fills the air. The smell fills the air and it smells fantastic. So let's go ahead and get this moved out of the way. This is your PSU. Don't get any fucking liquid in here. I've done that before, and it's not pretty. Season that up. Can't believe I fucked up. Unbelievable. I didn't use the fucking... See how it unscrews? Now, you make mistakes. That's okay. You're going to make mistakes. Your $485 budget computer is going to turn into $25,000 because you make mistakes. We're all human. Supposed to use the cup holder, and I didn't. It's okay. You make mistakes, just keep saying it over and over again, and maybe they'll believe you. Why do I get so nervous? So, the next part, what we're going to do here, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to turn this on its side. So, it's okay. This, like I told you, this doesn't matter. It's just simply for storing your device. Ow! Ow! Owie! Got stabbed! That's okay. Sometimes you get stabbed. Be careful with your components. So this is going to sit, if you don't know, if you've never seen the inside of a computer before, when this is it, notice how nothing happened there. Actually, we made out on top here, because here's the problem with the heatsink. The heatsink has, if you see, the heatsink has a bunch of these coils and rings. They kind of just get in the way, you know what I mean? I don't like to have it on in the first place, and the manufacturers, these companies, they make them impossible to remove. All you need is the fan. If you see, all you need is the fan to sit with some thermal compound. These rings don't do anything. It's extra bloat so the company can make some more manufacturing money on metal and plastic. So, that's a win, ladies and gentlemen. That's a win. Winning, you know what I mean? Like, winning, Charlie Sheen, that guy. So what we have here is we have a completely assembled motherboard, and we're going to put that in here just like this, ladies and gentlemen, just like this. We're going to get that stuck in here, and a standard screwdriver with your screws, which I have a few here, that's fine. So this goes in like this. If you're ever curious, like I said, if you've never seen the inside of a computer before, this is what it looks like. We're kind of looking at the skeleton. We're looking at the skeleton of the computer. You want to make sure the back plate here comes off. Make sure you turn it upside down first so you can remove that. You can see the back plate didn't come off yet. I like to use the claw to get that off. I'm going to get this outside of this spot. Like that. See how that's sticking out now? Now when you buy a computer, no, when I was younger, I used to look. Here's a funny story for you. Funny story. When I was younger, we gotta get that off too. I used to go into Best Buy. And I would look at the computers. I'd look at the back of the computers. And I would be like, what's in there? You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck do you get in there? I thought it was like the whole computer was a giant square filled with cement or something. I didn't know what the hell was there. So it's funny to see like actually the motherboard, what it looks like from behind and what it looks like inside. If you never built a computer before, it's pretty eye-opening. But, you know, you have to at least have a certain amount of intelligence to do it in the first place, which, you know, I do have. And, you know, don't want to brag or anything, but I was a Mensa student. One last thing before you move on from the motherboard. This is the motherboard battery. I know maybe you can't see, but look, that's the motherboard battery. It goes right in here. It slips in, kind of like a little coin when you were a kid. You went to the arcade machine. You know what I mean? It slips right in there, and it just clicks in there. Just imagine you get that sound, that Mario sound when you pick up a coin. How does it go again? It goes. How does that sound go? Ding! Something like that. Sure, I can make sure. I want to make sure the audience can see what I'm doing here. I'm plugging in the fans. There are, I think it's 4 WATX is the name of the slot. Once those are in, you're pretty much gravy. Like that. Again, it's kind of like a USB. Never goes in right the first way, right? Even if you don't get them all plugged in, it's okay. As long as you get one, the fan controller should be able to to take it all into consideration. So that's okay. Main power supply for the CPU, that's already in. Make sure that, I don't know what that goes to, but that's all right. Now that's in. That is in place. We have our PC components in there. Everything's good to go. Let's set this back up so you guys can see. Oops, a daisy. Okay, now that that's settled and ready, now we're gonna put it in the fan is already installed, comes pre-installed on most computers. That's fine. Okay. Trying to think of where we can put the birdhouse. If you have a bird for, you want to make sure there's a birdhouse in there just in case you want to make any tweets. Because that's how it happens, folks. That's how it is. That's how it works. Okay. The birdhouse is now in. Oh, shit, forgot. All computers require. Come on, bird, get in there, man. One of the final components that a lot of people don't know this, but computers run on diamonds. This is a quarter cup of diamonds. You don't need the fancy, expensive diamonds either. All you need standard diamonds that don't have to be cut a certain way. Just a quarter cup will do. You don't need much more than that. Remember, this is a budget PC. So a budget PC does not mean that we take out components that are essential. They have to run on diamonds. It's very important. Now we got the DVD drive. That works. DVD drive goes up here. Make sure it's facing the right way, because you never want to have a situation where you have to go in, like open up the side of your computer to get in there and turn on a DVD or put on like Shrek or Shrek 2. Isn't that what kids watch these days? So make sure it's going the right way, which it is. It is. And don't fuck up your birdhouse, because there's only one, as long as the birdhouse is in there, it's fine. The bird will sit there. And yes, this is a dead bird, because I'm just demonstrating. You wouldn't typically need to do that. You would have a real birdhouse in here. This is just for demonstration. That's why the back is open on the side here, because the bird can come in and out. You see. I just wanted to make sure that I had a dead bird to show you. See here? That's where this ends up sticking, and the bird flies in and out here. Okay. Just to make sure you guys are aware of that. So let's get this in. Any CD or DVD drive goes in. Takes a little bit of effort, but it'll slide in here and be sticking out the front. At least I hope so. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? And if it don't go, then, you may need to get the hammer in there just to, that's what we'll do. See? All it takes is a little bit of elbow grease sometimes. Graphics card is in. Birdhouse needs to be in. Okay, the last thing that I want to do with this, the power supply. You dolt. So the power supply can just go in. Doesn't matter where it goes. Remember, these components are durable. Don't believe, I read forums all the time of people telling me, Joe, be careful with these components, you sneeze the wrong way and they won't work. It's a bunch of corporate company bullshit for a way to sell more fucking steel, more plastic. It's a way for them to do that. So, with these, what I like to do, once it's in here, is I like to guess. That one's in. This one is in. And the rest, I think, are okay. Some of these are for fans that don't exist. So as long as that is secure in there, then you go. And now comes my favorite part, baby. This is the reason why. Oh, no, back plate. Doesn't matter, as long as it's in there. So now that we have our complete PC built, it's done. It's ready to be plugged in. But hold on just 1 second there, ladies and gentlemen. What about the front? You would say, hey, what about the case? You got to close that up. And I would say, yes, you do. Absolutely. But we can go flashier than this. I recommend, if you want to impress your friends, and you want to show them just how cool you are, and you have the money to spend, I would get rid of one of these. I would make a statement. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about here, I'm talking about a real statement, a see-through, gold-plated a see-through, gold-plated, a see-through, just, hold on.